Oh, sorry. Here, give me a second. I just I should probably be in the center. Hey guys. So yeah, this is the Christmas video. I kind of hold on. I could probably zoom in a little better. This is the Christmas video. This is the video where I set up everything for, it's Santa's coming to town, the whole shebang. And, we got the whole thing, and the thing's got the whole thing. I will say now there won't be a Christmas stream this year for Santa Claus, because I'll be with family, and we'll be celebrating in junk. Also, I didn't want to do a stupid thing because I realized it's kind of dumb. It's kind of, it's kind of its own thing, the usual business. And, I don't know, I just think wearing the green sweater that says Festive AF and stuff is kind of silly. So I just chose to maintain a peaceful time and a peaceful moment, just straight up not to, do it. So there's going to absolutely be no What? Santa's not real. Let's be real for a second. Santa's not real. These are really good cookies. I'm not about to just set them on a plate for a bit and waste them. This is my uncle's coquito. This right here, this is my uncle's coquito. He makes the best coquito, and it tastes so great. Nobody can make me not drink this during the festive season. Best coquito. The best. I can simply say in the most non-obnoxious manner that I am a Christmas kind of guy. It either stems from my mom, who used to just decorate my the house and make it look like it was from a Hallmark Christmas movie set, or from my cousin, who would also decorate for Christmas, but American style, whatever that means that I wrote, with singing the 12 Days of Christmas song and the Grinch, along with making me play the tree in a Christmas play in school. Hey Jesse, remember that? Remember when you made me play the tree? You made me sing in front of the whole school? You remember that? Because I sure do, and I had a lot of fun. I'd definitely be down to play the tree again, with way more rehearsal time for my brain's sake. Or maybe it's just the fact that where I'm from, the Christmas food just hits different. but I enjoy the holiday as a whole. Heck, this bit where I put up the Christmas tree in a time lapse is essentially just me looking for an excuse to celebrate Christmas as I used to remember it, with joy and happiness. See, between the ages of 4 and 15, you know that prime time when you're a kid, Christmas was the date wherein we would set our lives aside, be with family, see the lights at night, go to musicals or concerts or things alike, and be together. It was the holiday where, sure, we would get presents as kids, but it was also the holiday where we would be side by side, either enjoying the fireworks, hanging out with family, or other things that just made sense for the time. Though lately, since around the time my dad died onwards, it hasn't felt that way. It's sort of why I also made the December videos as such, to bring some joy for the 82 people subscribed to my channel, since you guys apparently care enough to watch my stuff. 1 or 2 of those probably are my channel, but you know, not here nor there. So what should I talk about this year? I asked myself out loud in a Discord call with my adopted sister, whom I adopted and is my adopted sister, and she's my sister. And she gave me the best idea ever. Talk about Christmas movies. Especially considering how lately I've put a lot of effort towards talking about what I love. I think that's a great idea. So using that idea and tweaking it a bit, I've compiled a list from worst to best Christmas movies I've watched ever and again. Let's get a look at it. Now before I go into detail about my list, here's the disclaimer. This list is based on my opinion as to what constitutes a good and bad film. I don't share everyone's opinion, nor do I want to, because then I am like everyone, and I aspire not to look like someone else. I aspire to be the guy that a random pink-haired Tumblr girl interacts with one day, sees something weird I did, and then posted to her micro-niche community of 7.5k followers, to which they reblog, and then it becomes a weird Tumblr post you see reposted on iFunny, from Reddit, from Instagram, from Twitter, from Snapchat. As such, I'm just having fun with this, so don't be too offended or think this is a targeted distaste to anyone. With that said, let's begin.
Without a queen.
Coming at a top number 10, A Christmas Prince. I'm a huge fan of people getting what they want in stories, so long as they put effort, put in the work and deserve it. I do not think anyone in this film, aside from this girl, deserves to get what they wanted in some way. A Christmas Prince is a bland movie where Amber, the film's lead, goes to the fictional kingdom of... Actually, is Aldovia fictional? Let me check. New tab. Is Aldovia real? Nope, it is not real. If it was, this would not be a romanticized film. Because I am sure at least 10% of the population would make a riot that would reach its government, to which they would officially make a statement about it. So yeah, in the fictional kingdom of Aldovia, where she is tasked to get a scoop about Prince Richard and how he plans on getting things done in his place now that he's the new king after his father died, because that's how government works in monarchies, and ends up falling in love with the castle, ends up being a fake tutor for Emily, the girl with spinal bifida, also known as split spine, falls in love with the prince, does something else that is not easily to remember since this film is so forgettable, and ends up shacking it up with Prince Richard. Yes, they kiss at the end. It's your basic, this is my romantic fantasy kind of story, you know? It's a bland story that my mom subjected me to watch a while back, whilst we still supported Netflix before the password thing. And so it's kind of fresh in my mind. The film at its core could be written much better, such as dropping a lot of the usual tropes with these romantic films. If this was a list to rate every film ever, and I say this lightly, by the way, I want to make sure that I say this lightly, the film would be lower than the entire Twilight saga. Though that opinion can change a bit. Let me be clear. The film is bland and with little substance. So it's why I rate it as low as I do. It's like from the top 10 films I remember. I'm not going to really put every film ever. Besides, there were Cartoon Network film specials, like 1-hour movies, and I'm not about to just like put all that in here, because then there would be just a lot of filler, and I don't have enough time. with little to no memorable content, nothing to write home about aside from white girl in big city goes to small country and learns to be better and learns values. It's bland. That's it. Papa's got a brand new bed. Coming at number 9, we have The Christmas Chronicles. So I have this dumb comedy film idea for Latin American audiences where it goes along the same lines of a typical Hallmark Santa's real film. You know, the kind where it's like, oh, Santa's real and we gotta help him. You know, like the Santa Claus and all those kinds of films. Except it's the Three Kings. And they go to the parents of first-time believing children to tell them how things work. And they freak out as the film is carried out by a misunderstanding. Wait, where was I going with this? Oh yeah, this film is basically an attempt to recreate the Santa Claus without the Santa swamp. You know how like in the Santa Claus, the Santa falls off the roof from Scott's house and he dies, and then he puts on the suit and he becomes Santa, that bit. 2 siblings learn of the existence of Santa, so they go out of their way and almost screw up Christmas because they wanted proof. Not gonna lie, I would too, you know, but that's not the point. The Christmas Chronicles takes the silly nature of what the Santa Claus did in crawling for this one to do, also crawling. With partial beat-for-beat happenstance, minus the few obvious points where it makes itself known it is a different film to the Santa Claus. Is it obvious that I'm a bit salty about this film? Cause like, I rewatched it just to make this thing, and it's like nobody cared to take inspiration from the Santa Claus. I mean, granted, it's not a hot 100 on Rotten Tomatoes, but you know. Anywho, it starts with these kids preparing for Christmas. The girl had a bright idea to make her list a video and email it to Santa, I think. Then the big brother bullies her about wanting to be creative and authentic, although lazy in my opinion. I wrote my Christmas wish list every year until I was too old for it. So don't blame me, and it devolves into a plot of them finding out by setting up Macaulay Culkin in Home Alone 1 and 2 style booby traps to catch Santa, only for him to be too fast and junk and make it hard for them to even fathom acknowledging his current place. It then further devolves into them chasing Santa as he does deliveries until they get into the sleigh, crash the sleigh, unsurprisingly, and losing the presents, causing the film to go on with the plot. With a scene where Santa is put in jail and has to make his way out somehow. They always set up Santa to have things that adults like as kids to try and convince them that he is Santa. Or she, I don't know, there might be female versions of Santa. Like, there was a news story article at one point here in Puerto Rico where a female Santa Claus dressed in blue was giving, I think it was, gifts to kids. I might be wrong on that. And, you know, they never believe him. You know, they never believe Santa Claus. I mean, who else in these universes would know you wanted a specific Hot Wheels car from 1977 with a specific coloration because you wanted that car in real life? Besides your parents and closest relatives, who else? Believably, tell me. But yeah, this one ranks as number 9 because it made an effort to make something that is relatable to kids, but failed in the end. At least it's not bland in the sense as the last one. You know, the Christmas Prince. What makes coquito is the cinnamon. Everything else makes it, but what seals the deal is the cinnamon, let me tell you.
Bruce Willis, Die Hard.
Coming at number 8, Die Hard. My dad was the kind of guy that was retired and bought a bunch of things that he found cool and affordable with his budget, you know? To the point he had a sound system at one point that made watching TV overkill, but watching the rented cut of Avatar, that was much more worthwhile. I barely remember any words to that film, and I love it. I had an enjoyable time with the sound system that doesn't work anymore. Case in point, I once, well, I was at the age of 12 or 13, I might be wrong on that one, watched Die Hard with him. And did not get it at all. I straight up did not get it at all. It was a movie. Shimmy at that point. Didn't get it at all until I was an adult. This is a heist movie that takes place on Christmas. So, here's the plot. John McClane, in hopes of reconciling with his wife, goes to a party hosted by her boss to try and patch things up. until, in his attempt to do so, gets caught up in a heist by a German radical and his team who try to steal a special money thing. In retrospect and inspection of the wiki from the film, since it's been a while since I watched it, they were stealing a Baird bonds, which is the equivalent of 640 million then, 1.58 billion as of 2022. So it's a lot of money in untraceable bills, essentially. It's like they're like these bills that have they were like specifically made. I think it was for probation time, or like the time where like everyone became the industrial age. But McClane does a heist and kills all the German guys' teams. By the way, I upon reading the wiki, I learned that the German is called Hans Gruberg, who is played by Alan Rickman of not just Harry Potter fame, but also Hitchhiker's Guide. May he rest in peace. And even pretends to be an escaped hostage and everything, to the point where he tapes the gun to his person. Oh my god, Bruce Willis is a national treasure. I heard he got, I think it was like a thing because he did his own stunts, and now he's retired just to stay a little while longer for his family. This film is at number 8 because as much as I love action films and stories, I've seen so many action films and stories with my dad to begin with. Roadhouse. I remember watching Roadhouse. I'm a science fiction and fantasy fan. I say, pointing at my shelf of collectibles that reflect this, but also because it's an action-adventure film that takes place during Christmas, and cannot, logically, be the best Christmas film, since it's in an action film, mostly. But I will say, it deserves to be immortalized in all of Christmas films' lists. This is a film that even if it takes place during Christmas and doesn't have exactly Christmas themes, it is a Christmas film. Because you have a lot of Christmas references. There's not a lot of Christmas themes, but there's Christmas references. And when they made Paul Blart Mall Cop, I'm pretty sure they took inspiration from this film. It's I read the wiki, and then I was envisioning Paul Blart Mall Cop on this one.
Of Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer on the General Electric Fantasy Hour.
Coming at a crisp and lenient number 7, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. Every December since around 2016, I've taken the liberty of playing Christmas music at the tail end of November, not just because of the season, but as stated before, because that Christmas joy wasn't there anymore. And I had to do something about it. So what did I do? Bring joy with music. American or otherwise did not matter. The point was to set the mood for the holiday. And boy did I set it up. But among the later editions of the season, the very lovely song Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer brought something to the forefront in a way that no other media had. A film has such a lovely song attached to it? Dang. Nice. Set in Christmas Town, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer was born to Donner and his wife. It literally never specified except in the Wikipedia page as Mrs. Donner, with a glowing red nose. He goes on to grow up and attempt to not show it anymore, because apparently that is embarrassing among reindeer and elves. Why? I don't get why the red nose was embarrassing. Was it because Santa never really had to, struggle to fly? It wasn't always... the whole thing is that in the film there's a big storm, so, He even gets a love interest that doesn't really go anywhere in the film, since it's a kids' TV special. Also, this doesn't count as a cartoon Christmas special because this appeared, I think it was in NBC America. From there, we learn of the elf that wants to be a dentist, Hermie, as they created a group of misfits, and even a gold digger known as Yukon Cornelius, the man that is strapped, who has spent his life searching for silver and gold as a prospector who towards the end finds what he always wanted. The film is nothing to look away from since it's a very well thought out story for children to enjoy and parents to love that their kids enjoy it. It's the perfect blend of storytelling and everything. I put it at number 7 because the film is stop motion. Not that stop motion is, a bad art form. It's just, considering what comes from number 6 up, it kind of pales in comparison. And since it wasn't such a predominant part of my childhood, but I can respectfully see why people love it. You know, I can see why people love it. It's not any lower because of the last 3 films, honestly. I mean, with Die Hard, the Christmas Chronicles, and the Christmas Prince, which I have a certain distaste for, this one's just absolutely better. There's no competition. You can't fight Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer with any of the previous ones. You can't. There is no shot, bro. There's no shot.
The original Grinch is now available on videocassette and DVD.
Coming on a nice soft number 6. It landed as softly as the sound landed in the ears of this guy. How the Grinch Stole Christmas. You cannot beat the classics, much less with the 2 adaptations this story has had. There's no need for a story with this one since I've known it existed since the Jim Carrey version, but I did watch it later when it came out on Cartoon Network a few times, so it technically doesn't count as, you know, a Cartoon Network special because, you know, they replayed it. So there isn't much of a culture click for me since I've seen it enough times back when Cartoon Network was still cool. So, you know, it's kind of whatever. It's a kind of whatever film. I love it, but it's kind of whatever. Set in Whoville, the Grinch lives atop Mount Crumpet. Where he sulks and lives all day as a reject, and because of all the noise the kids in Whoville make. So one day, just before Christmas Day, he makes a plan to, with his dog Max, steal Christmas. I think we all know where this is going. He basically had enough and decided to turn the volume down. So he dressed up as Santa and Max as a reindeer to steal Christmas. He goes pretty much under everyone's nose except for Cindy Lou Who, and gets to the top of the mountain, ready to get rid of all the things that make noise, gifts, and everything. But then, just as the sun starts to rise, apparently I have a stutter, he hears everyone singing as the sun rises. This makes the Grinch feel an emotion. He gets cardiomegaly and goes on to save Christmas for the Whoville residents by returning everything and having a grand old time with everyone and getting the best privilege carving the roast beast. By the way, that condition, cardiomyology, that's when your heart grows. I think that's what I googled. And also while singing the best song about hating someone because of like a handful of things that cannot be helped by a being that was outcast by society in the Jim Carrey version. And like maybe a lie or two in there. Dr. Seuss was a savage man.
You're a mean one, Mr. Grinch.
That's me.
You're a fugly piece of
What?
This one isn't my number 6 as it isn't super high on the nostalgic factor. I put a lot of nostalgia at the top because it's my list. It's not based on anything, it's just how I feel about them. But it gets close to being higher than the last few due to seasonal importance and the reach that Dr. Seuss had in the educational system, apparently, when it came to words and also emotions to people. No need to be more specific about the last one. I mean, we all know what happened in the Grinch. And also, every other version of, like, the film.
From the imagination of Tim Burton comes The Nightmare Before Christmas.
Coming in at a rock-hard solid number 5, The Nightmare Before Christmas. Most of my good memories in regards to Christmas come from small moments I would share with people, doing mundane things. One thing I would always do, especially back in like 7th or 8th grade, early on, was hang out with my cousins, who I have a particularly close relationship with, and go watch with them things like TV specials and movies, whenever we would go to their houses and junk to celebrate Christmas. Because there was like a whole rotation thing about Christmas when it came to my family. One particular cousin, that being one of the oldest ones in my family, has a certain knack for black and purple themed things. That being Jessie, you know, the one that made me dress up as a tree and sing in a play. It was through her I learned a lot about the pop culture world. And between those things, one of the better films that exist ever that's been monetized to heck and back, The Nightmare Before Christmas. I mean, it's through her that I learned to appreciate the fact that there is such a thing as glass Dragon Balls. I literally have the Dragon Balls. I have the Dragon Balls from Dragon Ball Z and Dragon Ball the series. I have the Dragon Balls. You can't have them. You can borrow them. They're mine. You can't have them. You're gonna have to fight me. You don't know where I live. You can't have them. One of Tim Burton's better produced stuff, The Nightmare Before Christmas follows the Pumpkin King Jack Skellington, attempting to make the annual Halloween festival the best it can be, but finds himself bored of it all. The repetition, at least, as he embarks on a quest to not let it be. But his quest is quickly diverted when he finds trees with doors to them, each with a holiday, stumbling into the door with Christmas and immediately falls in love with the town within. Christmas Town. How original, huh? To the point where he returns to Halloween Town and puts everyone into a tizzy, but by first trying to explain the holiday, then making a conceited effort to take over the holiday, to the point he asks Sally, who is in love with Jack, to make him a Santa suit. Also, there's like these 3 kids in the film that kidnap Santa, but first they kidnap the Easter Bunny and then Santa, and it's like crazy. So it all goes wrong when he actually succeeds, not only with kidnapping Santa and the other things, but he also screws it up by making horrible presents. You know, the guy lives in a town called Halloween Town. You're gonna look at me and tell me the man knows how to make anything? No. He's gonna be able to make horrors. He's an eldritch being. I think he's an eldritch being. He's a skeleton. He's Jack Skellington. And, you know, he's sort of like, you know, he's alive. And, he's gonna be good at making horrors, and he's the skeleton, the Pumpkin King, for Halloween Town. Which, him making these horrible presents ironically restores his faith in Halloween. And it all ends up with Jack saving Christmas by setting everything as it was. The townsfolk of Halloween Town learning what is the true meaning of Christmas, and with Jack and Sally getting together. This one does not invoke nostalgia, since I am 99% sure I watched it with my cousin and enjoyed every moment of it. I mean, this one does. This one does give me nostalgia. I meant. I'm 99% sure I watched it with my cousin and enjoyed every moment of it. Wait a minute. No, yeah, I did watch it. It still places itself at number 5 for the story and the claymation feel of it. Now, I know I said Rudolph was in 7th place because of the stop-motion nature. But see, The Nightmare Before Christmas was made with claymation of sorts. You know, it wasn't all just fur and junk. It was like proper clay and stuff. Like the Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer was like more puppets, and you had to swap stuff out. There wasn't a lot of claymation, since it was like earlier on than The Nightmare Before Christmas made. I think this one's a little more beautiful, at least with this ugly design.
Kevin! Home Alone.
Coming at an ironclad door made out of iron, treated with silk at the edges, and with rubber to seal the seams so that whenever water floods it doesn't come in, we've got Home Alone. To no one's surprise. This one's, you know, to no surprise, it was on my list. I mean, it's expected with my history. You know, most certainly having been left behind so many times. No, that's not right. That didn't happen to me. None of the events of the events of the film have happened to me. None of them. But, you know, we may as well talk about them. Home Alone's story hinges on the fact that 2 parents with a family of 6 children plus cousins and extended family, all staying in one house, a power outage happening and an alarm not going off, and everyone surprisingly forgetting one child at home. Because in all honesty, ignoring the logic of the world and reasoning behind anything, you expect me to believe that they would forget the middle child for a very important trip? Out of all things, this is the one thing they forget. So, you know, there's shampoo bottles There's a very specific sweater. There's like, I don't know, a gift for Aunt Sally over in France, Paris. You know, one of their kids. You're gonna tell me they're gonna forget one of their kids? Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, of course, they can forget. They're human. You know, the film then goes on to Kevin having a good time in his house, soon preparing himself to fight off robbers for stealing stuff from his home. Let's ignore the part where he realizes that he's alone and actually cries. And ends up a victor in that regard, considering the cops did almost nothing in this film, along with the subsequent following one, the sequel. I only watched 1 and 2, the first and the second one. I haven't watched number 3 and number 4 and anything. But his mom eventually comes back and reconciles with him, since at the beginning he was blamed for the dumbest things by his cousins and such. At number 4, this film ranks at the near top because I partly relate with Kevin in being an outcast sometimes within a family, and by family I mean a group of friends of Puerto Rican heritage that just go all out in DMs about anything funny they find. I am very much not bullied in my actual family and my actual friends, I promise you. I used to be bullied by my school classmates though, and apparently everyone was like, they're basically your family from 7 to 1, 7 to 3. So may as well get along with them. I tried that. Nobody ever wanted to be my friend for some reason or other. Maybe it's the autism. Maybe it's the ADHD. Maybe it was the fact that I was weird. I am weird. I'd rather be weird than anything. I'd really rather just be weird.
Ah! Humbug.
Disney's A Christmas Carol.
Coming at number 3 with a pillow ending. Landing on a pillow. Quite literally. There was a pillow in the cinema when the credits started rolling. The credits started rolling down, not up. Usually the credits roll up. No, this time they rolled down and they landed on a pillow. We've got Disney's A Christmas Carol. I gotta get more convoluted with these. So I wrote, fine, I'll admit that Jim Carrey, both in and out of his prime, is a good actor, especially in live-action films like The Truman Show, Me, Myself, and Irene, Bruce Almighty, and Batman Forever as the Riddler. But you have to admit, him voicing Ebenezer Scrooge goes hard. I don't know why I wrote this. I don't understand why I wrote this, because this is a fact. He goes hard. There is no need for you to understand that he does go hard, because everyone knows Jim Carrey goes hard. Jim Carrey smacks, bro. He smacks. Of the few Disney films I enjoy, solely for the fact that they actually take a concept and add to it, or make a story overall good and that's it. Considering I was not raised as a Disney kid, aside from having a Toy Story and WALL-E phase, and cards over there, and cards up here. Up here's the end card, where I'm pointing at. There's the end card. Shows you my WALL-E phase. Disney's A Christmas Carol hits where the emotions should. It starts you off with no BS at all. It literally starts you off by showing you the body of Jacob Marley, and proceeds with the timeless story of why the rich should reconsider their lives and move on from living as greedy people. Scrooge starts the film by choosing to no longer be part of Christmas overall. He then goes home and sees Jacob as part of his doorknob, to which he jumps back and almost makes his clothes stain brown, to which he warns him of the fact that he should probably stop being greedy and just be nice and such. Also chill since it's Christmas. This is Jacob Marley talking to Scrooge. Ebenezer Scrooge. Scrooge being Scrooge, he pays him no mind and gets dragged on by the candle of Christmas past to see his youth, the Christmas man of Christmas present to see his current business partner and employees on how things are going and how him being greedy is screwing them over, with finally death of Christmas yet to come showing him his grave. I swear this film is no BS. It legit just shows Scrooge's grave and even shoves him into it. Like, come on, you're gonna tell me that doesn't go hard? Teaching greedy people a lesson? Yes, please. At number 3, this film was always a delight to see during Christmas, especially when we first got DirecTV at home and had access to Disney Channel. Every Christmas, it was a blast to watch this film when it was available. Since it came out, it was funny to me as a kid for some reason. I don't know why. In retrospect, I still don't know why. For some reason, whenever I watched it, I would laugh. I asked my mom about it. She's like, yeah, you laughed at it. I didn't understand. She doesn't understand English. Well, she does understand some English, not all of it. So it's like, it's a number 3. Let's all be glad that Disney's A Christmas Carol is a number 3.
Will Ferrell.
Okay, people, Santa's coming to town.
Santa! Oh my God!
I know him.
Elf.
Do you remember me?
Coming at an evergreen tree in the middle of a forest, like a pine cone tree, we've got number 2, Elf, the movie. So my mom and I, when we have nothing important to do, usually lounge in our house, if not after work or back when I had school and all that, and we would take time during the evening and watch movies. With popcorn and everything, something we dragged Dad into very easily, and we just enjoy ourselves. To which this movie, Elf, was among the many movies we enjoyed. I had this on DVD. I had it on DVD. I wish I still had it so that I can just rip it and put it on my computer so I can show you guys clips about it. Well, at least I remember it fondly. Back when we still purchased DVDs and VHS cassettes, Elf was one of the few of the last films my family ever bought on DVD, and subsequently put on a disc folio and for it to not take up much space in what would be our media cabinet. The disc folio looked like a soccer ball. Anywho, Elf is the story of a baby turned elf Buddy, named because of his diapers that snuck his way into Santa's sack, and gained a new lease on life in regards to not being left in an orphanage. After hearing he was a human and not an elf, aside from the fact his ears are not pointing and his stature is literally just greater than the rest of the elves, I mean, come on, Buddy. Buddy, come on. You should have seen this one coming. You didn't have pointy ears. Buddy, you didn't have pointy ears. And, you're 6 times taller than the rest of the elves. But yeah, Papa Elf, who raised Buddy, shoots off the film with telling him where his dad is and what to do to save him from the naughty list. Buddy doing so and eventually meeting his stepmother, his step-sibling, meets a girl, fights the equivalent of a mall Santa, makes an attempt at a job, falls in love, saves Christmas, and has a baby with whom he fell in love with. The lady whom he fell in love with. I should have just clarified that. It's very it's very emotion-driven. It's one of the oldest movies I can recall watching as a kid before I met my dad, and it's still one of those movies I remember fondly watching a lot during Christmas when we had little then. And even when we had a lot later on, it rests fondly in my heart as a solid number 2. For the story and execution, but mainly the presentation of mostly realistic humans acting in regards to their environment. Reminder that acting, more often than not, is reacting. So a lot of the good ones have good reactions. You gotta react, because it's a story. You gotta put yourself out there. You gotta pretend like this is actually happening, because it's a film. I mean, what are you gonna do? Not react? Come on, man. It's like 10% of the job. Actually, it's like 50%. If you look at it, it's like 50% of the job. Since I want to talk about my number 1 Christmas movie of all time, let's spitfire a few honorable mentions. I might just need to outright read this, which I am. I've outright this entire script. Frosty the Snowman, I watched it a few times and barely remember it, but the scenes where his hat gets put on first time. A Charlie Brown Christmas, I like the idea of Charlie Brown, so I might enjoy it next time I see it, since I don't recall watching it. Batman Returns, this also takes place in the holidays? Huh. Edward Scissorhands, love Johnny Depp on most films, he's a delight. Love him on this one too. A Christmas Story, this exists, I think. Arthur Christmas, meh. The Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special, there's a celebrity special guest appearance of the guy that played the villain in R.I.P.D. and X-Men First Class. The Santa Claus, I love it, the story and everything, but it can't be number 1. Because coming in at number 1, after having a lot of retrospective and thinking about it, in comes, stopping at the station, the Polar Express. I was the kid in the neighborhood that got one expensive gift when he was a kid and thought I was the last Coke in the desert. This led me to not only thanks in part to my autism, but also in due part to being very imaginative, think that certain things were real. That I was destined to live the things that were happening on TV. I was such a naive kid, I swear. I knew Santa wasn't real, and yet I would prepare for him with the milk and cookies. But also for the three kings that would get the grass for the camels, and at one point I would lie in wait for the Polar Express to reach my house. Call on me so I could maybe get chosen to get one of Santa's gifts early. Granted, I wasn't per se a nice kid, but hey, I did what I could. I think morally, I'm a nice kid. Set somewhere in suburbia, America, where railroads were once were, a skeptical kid tries to give hope and credence to the idea of Santa. But at every turn, he is shown proof that he doesn't exist. So he goes to bed a non-believer, only soon to be awakened by the train whistle of the Polar Express, with the conductor, voiced by Tom Hanks, leading the way to North Pole where antics ensue. I just noticed most Christmas films aimed towards kids have some form of antics that ensue. The Santa Claus has Tim Allen spook Santa to death. Elf has Buddy almost ruined his dad's life. The Christmas Prince gives to Keith so whole kingdom's future to a reporter that looks like the main writer of the story almost point for point, who had the entire intentions of being paparazzi only for it to be turned around without her winning it at all. The Christmas Prince is bland. I don't like The Christmas Prince. It's a bland film. The entire franchise. It's bland. I don't like it. Makes me feel upset. Anywho, the kid, titled by Wikipedia as Hero Boy, goes on to see the sights, lose tickets, drink hot chocolate, which has a sequence sang by Tom Hanks, National Treasure. All actors I like are national treasures. That includes Shia LaBeouf, when he was chill. He meets a ghost, probably has a crush on the girl who is dubbed in the wiki as Hero Girl, whom both are later on in the film accompanied by... Oh my goodness. The name of the kid is Billy the Lonely Boy. Could they not have just called him Billy? Dude, he was poor in the film. Why did they have to put him down like that? Just because he likes being a bit alone, less positively coerced into socialization? I mean, geez, film. And geez, Wikipedia. Damn. Right, where was I? Oh yeah, accompanied by Billy. I'm not going to call him the entire thing. They get to see an exclusive viewing of the internal workings of the North Pole, get to see how the naughty/nice list works. Much like a CCTV system, honestly, it's a lot more realistic. I like that. It's a lot more realistic. And he even gets to hug Santa, and he learns a lesson to be humble and only ask for reasonable things for Christmas, like a jingle bell that fell off the reindeer nearing the end of the film. It's not really plot related, but you know. And even gets an assurance to believe, as it's written on his golden ticket, having seen it all. A delightful soundtrack, an interesting premise, killer voice acting, the animation has seen better days, certainly in my imagination and memory, but overall, a memorable film that can be watched by kids of all ages and can be enjoyed by everyone. A great piece of media that this film has a 64% audience score on Rotten Tomatoes with a 56% critic review? I mean, it's not that bad. Come on, give it a chance. You don't have to be so analytic about everything. Sure, tell everyone how it is, but it's a classic. Give it a chance. Come on, man. You know, it's a Christmas film. There's an entire thing about it. Come on. You're gonna tell me you didn't enjoy the part where Tom Hanks is singing Hot Chocolate, or where the kids start singing about the Polar Express and all the music. Are you gonna tell me you didn't enjoy that? Christmas is a time of remembrance, of being thankful that you lasted one more year in this crazy world. Christmas is the time where we as a family get together, sit by the fire, get some hot chocolate or a nice coquito or a beer if you celebrated it like that, and just bask in the joys of life. Like the twinkling lights of a Christmas tree, decorations of the birth of Jesus Christ, snow machines, those laser things that look like Christmas lights, but they're lasers. You know what I'm talking about? Icicles that are lights, Christmas cookies, and the light ones. You know how it is. Things that make people simply smile, that bring them joy. It's a time where we reunite from long business trips and are wind to celebrate the lineage of family that we are. And above all, it's a time to say thanks to those that deserve it for the greatest blessing they have been in your life. So I say thank you to my family, specifically my cousins, my aunts and uncles, my grandma who is still alive, my mom, my dog, everybody that has made a great impact in my life. Chris, I have a really cool friend, his name's Chris, he's a really cool guy. I give thanks to everyone. But at least in the nature of this video, most importantly, I thank you guys for watching. Be sure to give this video a like if you liked it, comment down below what I should do next for the December video or January video, and subscribe this way for more content. I did a lot this year behind the scenes. That's why I didn't do a lot of video making. And there's a very special thing that's gonna come out next summer, and I've been focusing more on it. But certainly, come January, I'm at least gonna put in effort to, until June, July, make videos. I'm gonna make an effort to make videos. If I can't, I apologize. I literally have an interview tomorrow. I'm gonna try to edit this as flash as I can. I have an interview tomorrow. Everything should be chill. So thank y'all for watching, and I hope you guys have an excellent Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, however you guys celebrated. I'm not gonna say holidays because I think that's just stupid. So thank you all for watching. Have a great rest of your lives. Love you guys. Bye. I'll be back soon. Maybe for the 2020 video. I don't know. I might make something. I don't know. I'm kind of crazy like that. I might make something. But the plan I just said before, like from January to that, and like the reason I've been quiet is it's still the truth. But I don't know. I might go crazy. I might go crazy. I might make something. I don't know. You know. You don't know. You don't know what's going on here. I might make something. You don't know. You don't know. You don't know. You don't know. No.